Hello everyone! Здравствуйте! Сегодня мы будем читать 5 главу. Она называется Tiger. Part 5. Tiger! Now we must go back to the end of the first story when Mowgli left the wolf cave after the fight at the Council Rock. He went down to the place where men lived, but he didn't stop at the first village. It was too near the jungle, and there were those in the jungle who hated him. So he hurried on, running for 30 kilometers or more without getting tired. At last he was in a country that he didn't know. The open land in front of him had no hills, but it was cut up by ravines. The ravines were dry of most of the year, but when the rains come, the water ran fast along them. So the sides of many of the ravines were like walls. At one end of the open land there was a small village. At the other end, the jungle came to an end near the place where the villagers' cattle and waffles found the best grass. Small boys looked after the cattle and waffles there. When they saw Mowgli, the boys ran away. At the village, a crowd came to look at Mowgli. The people talked and shouted and pointed them. "They are like monkeys," Mowgli thought. "Nobody has taught them." But he opened his mouth and pointed down it to show that he was hungry. A fat man came. "You needn't to be afraid," he said to the crowd. "Look at the marks on his arms and legs. They are the bites of wolves. He's a wolf child who has run away from the jungle." There certainly were a lot of white marks on Mowgli's brown skin. To Mowgli himself, they were no bites. They were places where the cub's teeth had gone into his skin in play. "Ah," some of the women said, "bitten by wolves. Poor child, he is a nice-looking boy. Messua, he is not unlike your little boy that was taken by the tiger." A kind-looking woman went over the mound to Mowgli. "Yes," she said, "he does look like my boy." "Take him to your house, Messua," the fat man said. "Perhaps he's your son. Perhaps he's not. But the jungle took your boy, and the jungle has brought this one back." The kind-looking woman spoke to Mowgli. He didn't understand her words, but she showed him the way, and he followed her. They went into her house, and she gave him milk and bread, and then she put her hand on his head and looked into his eyes. "Are you my son?" she asked. "Are you Nato?" Mowgli didn't show that he knew the name. "No," she said sadly, "but you are very like my Nato, and you will be my son." Mowgli looked round the inside of her house. He had never been under a roof before, but he saw that the roof was made of grass. He could not break a way through it if he wanted to get that way. He understood that this was his new home, if he wanted a home among man people. "How can I be a man," he asked himself, "if I don't understand men's talk? Now I am as foolish here as a man would be with us in the jungle. I must learn their talk." Mowgli listened carefully to Messua. As soon as she said a word, she said the sound of that word. Before night, he had learned the words of many of things in the house. When night came and the door was shut, Mowgli went out through the window. He could not sleep in the house. It was like a panther trap. Messua didn't try to stop him. She knew that he had never slept on a bed. Mowgli found some long, clean grass at the side of a field. He lay down, but didn't sleep at once. A soft nose touched him. It was a gray brother, the oldest of Mother Wolf's cubs. "Pooh!" said Gray Brother. "You smell like a man now. But listen, little brother. Shere Khan has gone to hunt far away under his coat rows now. He was badly burned by the red flower. But when he comes back, he says he will put your dead body in the Wagwana River. Two can say things like that, said Mowgli. Remember that I said I will take Shere Khan's skin to the Council Rock. I am tired tonight, very tired with new things. But come again, Great Brother. Come often and tell me what has happened in the Sion Hills and the jungle. You will always remember that you are wolf, little brother. Mean will not change you. Never. I will always remember that I love you and all in our cave. But I will remember too that others made me leave the pack. 4 weeks after that, Mowgli worked hard to learn the words and the ways of men. In the evening, he liked to listen to the old men. They sat under a great tree in the village and told stories, wonderful stories. The most wonderful stories were told by old Buldeo, the villager hunter. He sat with his old gun on his knees and told wonderful stories about the beasts in the jungle. Mowgli knew that the stories were not true, so he kept his hands over his face to hide his laughing. But at last time, Handman, the fat man, saw Mowgli laughing at Bulda's story. It was a story about a tiger with one bad foot. The tiger which hurried away Messua's son. Budela said that it was not real tiger. It was ghost, the ghost of the dead giant. And that, said Buldea, is why the tiger with the bad foot is afraid of nothing. It is the bravest tiger in India. That boy, said the headman, must have some work. He must go and look after the village cattle and buffaloes. He must take the herds of cattle and buffaloes out the grass in the morning. He must stay with the herds all day, and he must bring them back to the village in the evening. He can start tomorrow. So the next day, Mowgli went out in the early morning, sitting on the back of Rama, the biggest of the buffaloes and the leader of the herd. Mowgli was stronger than any of the village boys. He started at once to give orders to the other boys who went out with the herds. Keep the cattle here, he told them, about a kilometer from the village. I am taking the buffaloes near the jungle. At the place where the Wangla River comes out of the jungle, Mowgli went Rama's back. He over to some big trees. Ah, said Great Brother, I have waited there for many days. Shere Khan came back to this country and waited near the village. Now he has gone away to hunt, but he will come back. He wants to kill you. Good, said Mowgli. Will you or one of your brothers sit on that rock when he comes back? Then I will see you when I will leave the village. It was a few weeks later that Mowgli saw Great Brother on the rock. Shere Khan came out of the hills last night with Tabaqui, said Great Brother. Oh, I am not afraid of Shere Khan. But if Tabaqui helps him, Tabaqui won't help him. I met Tabaqui this morning. Before I broke his back, he told me everything. Shere Khan is going to wait for you when you go back to the village tonight. He's hunting now in the big dry raven over there. In the river? Mowgli stood and thought. Has he eaten? Yes. The fool! If he has eaten, he can't climb up the sides of the ranger. I can take the herd through the jungle to the head of the raven. I can make them run along the raven until they smell the tiger. Then they will be very angry and they will be charged and kill him. But we must stop him from getting out at the other end of the raven, Great Brother. Can you cut this herd into 2 parts for me? I can't do it alone, but I have a wise helper. Great Brother ran to a hole not far away. A great grey hat come up, a grey hat that Mowgli knew well, and laughed. Akela! Akela! said Mowgli. How glad I am to see you. Cut the herd into 2 parts. Akela, Keep the cows and their young ones together, and the wolves by themselves." The two wolves ran in and out of the herd, this way and that way, and soon there were two clear herds. The cows were in one herd, with their young ones in the center. If a wolf stayed still, the cows would charge and kill him with their feet. But Akela and Grey Brother moved too quickly for that. The bulls looked very dangerous too. Mowgli jumped onto Rama's back. "Drive the bulls through the jungle to the head of the raven, Akela. And you, Grey Brother, keep the cows together. When we have gone, drive them in onto the other end of the raven." "How far?" Grey Brother asked. "Until the sides and higher than Shere Khan can jump," Mowgli called. "Keep there until we come down the raven." The bulls ran from the great wolf Akela. The cows saw Grey Brothers just stop just in front of them, and they charged. He ran just in front of them to the foot of the raven, while Akela drove the bulls far round through the jungle. After a time, Akela stopped frightening the bulls, and Mowgli called quietly to them. It was a long way around, because Mowgli didn't want to take the herd near the size of the raven. Shere Khan must not hear them or smell them. At last Mowgli stopped at herd and head of the raven. "Give them time to get their breath, Akela," he called. "They haven't smelled him. They need to get their breath. And I want to tell Shere Khan that we are coming. We have him into the trap." He put his hands to his mouth and shouted down the raven. The sides of the raven cried his voice down from the rock. After a long time, the angry voice of a sleepy tiger came back. "Who is it?" "It's Mowgli. It's time for you to come to the Council Rock, cattle thief." "Now, hurry them down, Akela. Down, Rama, down!" Akela gave the terrible full hunting call of the wolf, and the herd started. The wolves ran into the raven, going faster and faster. In the raven, Rama smelled Shere Khan and gave a great bellow. "Ha!" shouted Mowgli on his back. "Ha! Now you know!" And the herd knew. They knew what they must do. It was the terrible charge of the bullful herd. Nothing can stop it. No tiger can beat it. Shere Khan heard the sound of their charge coming down the raven. He started to move away, looking to one side of the raven and then to the other for a way out. But the sides of the raven were like walls. Here and on, the blow of the charging bulls were answered by a bellow from the cow and the end of the raven. Shere Khan turned. Rama's feet hit something soft. Then the charging bulls met the other herd. For a time, there was a dangerous sea of wolves. But with the help of Akela and Grey Brother, Mowgli took them out of the raven, and the wolves slowly became quieter. Shere Khan was dead. Спасибо за то, что вы меня слушаете и смотрите. Thanks for watching and listening. Subscribe my channel, подписывайтесь на мой канал и ставьте лайки. Не забывайте делиться с этим видео с друзьями. А на сегодня все. Скоро выйдет часть 6. Так же, как она называется, как 5-я часть, только Tiger 2. See you soon. Bye.